and welcome to another edition of OnSide SA, where Budge and I are going to take you through what's happening. Last one standing, Budge. 39 left from 92.
Yeah.
I'm just going to run through the teams that went through. Man United 2-1. Arsenal comfortable. Brighton, Liverpool and Nottingham Forest went through. The guys who went out, Budge, Newcastle 23 and Tottenham 22.
Again Newcastle, Paul.
Yeah, again Newcastle. They only got an equaliser because the defender slipped.
Yes.
Everton 7 and Man City. The guy must have Man City thought I'm going through. 1 on Man City went out. So 39 left. 4 ladies, Budge.
Yeah, holding the
Montana
fort.
Werner, she's always seemed to be in the scrum.
Yeah.
Fiona Tristman.
Yeah.
Tracy Anderson. Amir Rothhazen.
Jason, yeah, Sean's daughter, yeah.
Okay, excellent. 6 from the international market. Jason Dunbar, where's he?
He's in the UK.
Neil Horsman's in the UK. Tay Statler, where's he?
He's in Namibia.
Namibia. Deacon Moyer, or
Regan Moyer.
Regan, sorry.
Yeah. He's in the UK.
Greg Bardnos, UK.
No, Greg Bardnos is in the Netherlands.
What prison's he in? And Tony Cass.
Tony Cass is in Mauritius.
Mauritius. Okay, now postnet guys, there's only
Yeah, it's only Anthony Pollock. Melissa Borrens unfortunately went out last week, so Anthony's holding the fort.
4 guys with multiple picks. Hassan Morley's always there, he does a good job. Mark Curry does a good job. Mark Tuttle and Michael Knowles. I don't know Michael Knowles.
Michael is a grandson.
Okay, excellent. Has he got hair? And former champions, Ernie Wallace Skip and Hassan Morley.
He only won the first one, so...
Other entrants doing well. Manuel Gouveia, Stanley Berger or Berger, Vikesh Arul Nathan,
works for Gary Green,
Paulo De Carmo, Dave and Devon O'Connor, Larry Weinstein. I was looking at an old photo the other day. He was playing pro. It was years and years ago. Good footballer, Larry. Salwa Khan, David Harker, Johnny Arthur.
Yeah, Mickey's father. Mickey's son, sorry, the cricketer. Johnny, big miners man.
Entrance, Lyle McNeil.
Yeah.
Ian Hall. Jeff Ward. Peter Barker, Spursman.
Yep.
Gilberto da Silva and Gavin Wright, the baseballer. Sure. That's interesting. So, Budge, when does it start again?
Well, fortunately, there's no Friday game and there's no lunchtime. So 12:30 Saturday, I need the picks, Paul. There have been a few coming through.
Okay.
Now, there's 8 games and everyone's been notified, Paul. 8 Premier League games and the League Cup finals included.
Okie dokie. Champions League results. Now, let's see if Stevie B's about. Steve, you about?
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning, Steve. How's London?
Yeah, probably a little bit cooler than Durban.
Yeah, you're right there. Right, but I didn't watch these games, but you did.
Steve, Inter Milan Atletico, I watched it. Inter were in control for most of the game. I was disappointed in Atletico, but Inter Milan on a bad side.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they're, after last year's run, and they're walking away with Serie A at the moment.
Yeah.
So, they're a strong side. I think, they're going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, I just can't see that Atletico coming back. You never know. Morata was missing, but they just weren't the same team. Normally they were fiery, got stuck in, kicked a few players, but Inter Milan look like they've got their number. But the second leg is in, you've been in the stadium, Paul, is it the Wanda Metropolitana?
Yeah, I've been. It's a beautiful stadium.
Yeah,
beautiful.
so,
lovely walk up the hills there with players from one side go up one side, players from the other side come up the supporters. Well, they kept Liverpool and Spurs apart when I went, and it's very well run, very organised, beautiful field, big stadium.
So, should be a good game. The other game, Steve, I didn't watch. I saw the highlights. PSV won, Dortmund won.
Yeah, I did see, again, just saw the highlights like you. Dortmund probably be pleased with that. I mean, obviously they were winning, but I can't see either of these teams getting beyond maybe the quarter-final stage. But I think Dortmund certainly be favourites for the next leg.
And I saw Man United stat about how poor Sancho was. I was scathing of him, but anyway, can't believe
Is he on loan or bought
he's
back?
on loan. I think United wish they would sign him, but 300 grand a week, no one's buying him. Other game last night, Steve, Porto 1, Arsenal 0. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal, were just, they just didn't create enough. I mean, they had a lot of the ball, but really didn't look like scoring most of the game. Porto had 1 or 2 chances, but Arsenal should have seen that game out. They just gave the ball away. And it was a good goal, but the goalkeeper was found sort of wanting. So, I think Arsenal still be favourites, but Arteta will be furious with them.
They should have conceded in the first half. The guy hit the post, inside of the left post, and it rebounded, and he missed. How he missed, I still don't know. But, I agree, Steve. These teams trying to play out from the back. It's 14 touches, and then they pass it back to the keeper who just hoofs it. You may as well sling it long from the jump, especially when you're playing for time. But, I don't know. Arsenal weren't impressive. Trying to play for a draw in Portugal. For me, they should have try to win the first leg and cruise in the second, but they've got it all to do in the second leg. And the other game, Steve, Napoli won, Barcelona won. I saw the highlights up to the first half. They both scored in the second half, but two teams also that aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, I think Barcelona will be happier of the two. Obviously, going back all square to the new camp.
Yeah. Just when you watch them the other day, I watched them. They drew 3-3 at home. They just can't believe it's the same team that we're used to seeing. But anyway, that's how it goes. Steve, there were two Premiership games featuring the top teams. Man City won, Brentford 0. Man City had to work hard.
They did, and they have in their last few games.
Yeah.
The sort of free-scoring Man City of earlier in the year or last season seems to have disappeared. Teams are obviously coming and making it hard for them, but that was especially after dropping points at the weekend, and it looked like they could drop points again, but Haaland sort of popped up and after a mistake from one of the Brentford defenders, but they needed that, and Liverpool again last night, without a lot of key players at half time, they were probably scratching their heads thinking, this is going to be another bad night. So, they came good and they needed to, so they've now got a little 4-point cushion against City going into the weekend.
Steve, I was going to ask you a question. When Man City was struggling to break down Brentford, why are they not playing De Bruyne? Is there an injury? If suddenly you're 70 minutes into a game, best passer of the ball probably in the league or the world, and you don't bring him on, do you think he has an injury?
Well, I think that, again, I think you're right. I think a lot of the pundits were saying what's happening. I just wonder whether or not Pep is just sort of trying to manage the game time, because obviously he's come back from a long-term injury. They've got another game the weekend. They've got European football. I guess he probably thought, look, we've got enough about us that we can win this without him. But, I guess until that Haaland goal, he was probably sort of thinking, do I bring him on or not? And in the end, once they went ahead, I think they were comfortable enough.
Yeah. Steve, I think it's more serious than that. 0-0 at home, he would come on 30 minutes to go. They're putting lesser players than him on. I think he's not right. He's got to be starting. And I know Bournemouth away, and then they got, is it Copenhagen at home, so he won't play in that. But Bournemouth away will be difficult. But I just couldn't believe he didn't come on. Because Brentford, I know they've got a terrible recent record, but they've got they give Man City a hard game. And there's something not right there, Steve. Maybe we're missing something, or they won't tell us anything, but there's definitely something wrong there. But anyway, just having a look at the Premier League standings, Steve, Liverpool have played one more game. They've got 60 points, Man City 56, and Arsenal 55. If you had to have a bet, who's your money on?
I would have still said City, but these last three games, which have all been at home, they've struggled to win. So obviously 1-2 and drew 1. So it's going to be very interesting. I mean, up until a week or so ago, City were the only team that had basically had every one of their players fit, but they've lost sort of one or two. Liverpool have got a lot of injuries, and obviously they've lost Jota now for a couple of months. So it's going to be interesting to see whether Salah and Nunez are back soon, because they got away with it last night, but they wouldn't want to be going into too many games without sort of Salah, Nunez and Jota.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
I got sent the list of the team lineup of injured for Liverpool. Jota, Nunez, Salah, Jones, Thiago, Szoboszlai, Trent, Matip, Bajcetic, Alisson. That's a lot.
That's a lot, especially Alisson. He's
well, that's a team, isn't it? I mean, that's in any other for any other team, most of those would be starters. So it's
it's a big loss. As long as they got Van Dijk, and they'll be fine. They could marshal it. Stephen, one question. There's a mention of it where there may be the top two leagues in Europe, depending on how the teams perform this Champions Europa League conference. There may be a 5th team added to the Champions League. Is that correct?
That is correct. So, I think at this moment in time, I'm not sure if if the UK or if sort of England are in the top 2. There's a sort of strange coefficient, but obviously if there is, then it makes it very interesting, because then you get, obviously at the moment you've got like Villa and Tottenham fighting, let's say, for that 4th place. Well, it could be both of them end up in the Champions League, and then you've got a couple in the Europa, and then maybe down to 8th place for the Europa Conference. So it makes it, it gives a lot to play for.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, on to the betting for the Premiership betting for the.
Just before he goes back, I want to ask him. I listened to a portion of the interview by the guy at Man United who's coming in. Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Spoke a lot of sense. Wow, he's a smart man.
Billionaire.
You can make money doing something wrong too.
Yeah, that's true.
But I listened to him. He was very objective. He spoke well of his partners, the Glazers, and he said they're courteous, very nice people. He said we're planning things together. He spoke very. I watched it on BBC. Okay. Very interesting. I was very impressed with him.
Yeah, well, he's trying to get the ship right from the bottom, Paul.
Yeah.
Make sure. But anyway, it's what happens on the pitch.
I listened to the whole interview.
Yeah.
And at one point he said, our objective is obviously to topple our neighbours and topple Liverpool and the top sides. Headline this morning paper, we're going to topple Liverpool and Man City. He never said it like that.
Yeah.
Bloody
press.
garbage press.
They like to sensationalise the comments.
Yeah.
It just makes it, these sort of sound bites. But the guy is a very bright guy. He's not going to part with over £1 billion and not want to get involved. And but the sounds, he's Ineos have got a track record of backing other sports and have done well in them. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. Steve, is his team Nice in France?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they've struggled a little bit, so at times there have been some issues. But this is a different level, isn't it, altogether?
Yeah.
So and the investment that they're putting in. I mean, they're talking about a new stadium.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to revamp the Salford Quays, and the stadium will no doubt be part of it. Anyway, on to the weekend's betting, and pull the odds up now. In the first game, Steve, Aston Villa versus Notts Forest. How do you see it going?
Yeah, look, I think Villa. I mean, I saw them close up last week.
Yeah.
In patches they played well. They're probably a little bit fortunate to get the win in the end. We just missed too many chances in the last half hour. But I think they'll be favourites. I mean, Forest had a good win against the poor West Ham side, but I think Villa are going to want to, now that they've got back into 4th place.
Yeah.
I think they're going to want to consolidate. So I fancy a Villa win there.
Yeah, they have lost their last 2 home games, Villa.
Yeah, that's right.
So you never know. There seem to be goals in that. Notts Forest away from home have a go.
They have a go. They've only lost 1 away in the last 4.
For me, over 2.5 goals, it's short. I like both teams to score, but Villa to win, both teams to score would be my suggestion. Steve, Brighton, Everton. What do you think?
Well, last season, this was one of the shock results when Everton went there struggling and went and won 5-1.
Yeah.
Look, Brighton, again, you're not sure what you're going to get. They had a very comfortable Sunday afternoon at Sheffield against 10 men. Everton are fighting. They haven't won in 8. They're desperate for a win. They seem to, they're not giving up easily, and they've got another late goal. I think Brighton will be favourites, but I think it will be a hard-fought game.
Yeah, it will be. I think Brighton a good thing, Steve. We had a bet to come with Everton. I was so disappointed them going forward. I don't know why he doesn't play the 2 boys together. Was it Beto and the other guy that's always injured, Calvert-Lewin? Playing one and taking them off. I know that gives them an extra midfield player. But Brighton are going to control the ball. If they keep it and they don't give it away, I think Brighton will win comfortably. This Everton are going nowhere. They're in trouble. And I think 9-10 Brighton's a good bet. I'm going to be taking, I think it's 2-1, 22-10, Brighton to win by more than 1 goal. I just can't have Everton, Steve, just on what I've seen. I know they're a gutsy team. Well, it's Burnley in an Everton shirt, really, isn't it? But I can't have them. I think they're in trouble. Crystal Palace, Burnley, 2 other sides in trouble.
Man, Ollie's in.
Yeah, Oliver Glasner, that's it. And, they fought hard, but I thought...
Palace,
Sorry,
I
Steve,
thought Palace played well in the first half at Everton. But Burnley, well, they're struggling and well beaten last weekend. I mean, very well beaten. I think once they sort of go behind, their heads drop. Yeah. For me, Palace, I think, will start as favourites. They're not scoring goals freely, but I think that if they get a first goal, then I think Burnley struggle to get back in it.
Yeah, Burnley, when you watch them, they play better against the lower sides because they try and play. I think there's goals in the Steve. Yeah, this is last chance saloon for Vincent Company. I think they're like 7 points adrift, and if they don't get a result here, they are gone. And Crystal Palace,
they've got to get something out of this.
They don't score many goals, so they have a chance here. I think it was like 9 to 10 both teams to score. That's my suggestion. This could go either way, Steve. Palace, as recent form hasn't been great. Without Elisa and Eze, they don't create much other than set pieces. So I think Burnley can maybe spring a surprise.
Palace need the win too.
But it won't be a draw. Wouldn't surprise me. Man United, Fulham, Steve. You guys don't get the results up there, but you normally play well.
I think last season, we played well against United and lost every game, but literally very close. I can't see anything other than a home win. Palhinha is out for 2 games. He's the first player to get 10 yellow cards, just the way he plays. It's, most tackles in the Premier League and most yellow cards because they go hand in hand. But no, I think, it's strange. I mean, watching United the first sort of 10, 15 minutes on Sunday, you thought, wow, they're going to get 4 or 5 here. And in the end, sort of, missed a lot of chances. But, I think you have to take the game to them. Obviously, they're now with a recognised left back. Yeah. Luke Shaw could be out for a big chunk of the season.
They got rid of Reguilon and Luke Shaw. They're bringing a kid in.
You've got Højlund scoring goals now. I mean, he's the youngest player to get to, I think, score in his in 6 games in a row or 7 games in a row.
He was gifted both
ahead of Haaland. So I'd be. If we got anything at all out of the game, I would be surprised.
United
I think there'd be goals, Steve. There's 3-4 goals in this. I think it was 12 to 10 over 3.5 goals. There has to be. United can't defend, which always gives you a chance. Yeah. But current form, 1-4 in a row. Old Trafford.
Playing well.
A lot more confidence that Anthony's on the bench. Steve, Bournemouth, Man City. I know Man City have been struggling, but this is a perfect chance to turn it around. I watched the first game where they beat them 6-1. Bournemouth have a go. That's one thing I'll give them. I think they scored in 14 of the last 15 games. Only game was when they got beat 4-0 by Liverpool. Surely Man City have got to roll this team.
You would think so. I mean, I saw that the Bournemouth-Liverpool game, and it was they were very competitive in the first half. But once Liverpool scored, it was one-way traffic. And and you'd think that City might do the same, but Bournemouth have got nothing to lose. They haven't won in a few. They had a good run tail end of 23, but since the new year they've struggled to win. But I think, look, City are going to look at this. Liverpool are not playing in the league. They had their game last night. City know they've got to win to keep pace. So I think there will be goals. It'll be interesting to see if he does start with De Bruyne. I think he may well do, as he rested him during the week.
Yeah, for me, 18-10, Man City to win and both teams to score. I think it'll be a 3-4-1 job. That's my suggestion. On to our second page, and is this the upset of the week, Steve?
1-3 Arsenal.
Arsenal against Newcastle.
I'd be surprised. I mean, it's. I think Arsenal in the league. I mean, been scoring goals for fun, and I just don't think. They'll lose at home to Newcastle. Newcastle away. Yeah. They had that win at Villa, but apart from that, they've not been. They've been struggling.
Yeah, Steve, my only concern, Arsenal. Playing the Champions League, they've had it easy for a while. Wednesday, Porto travel back more than likely after the game. Their preparation, it won't be easy because that was a hard game for them last night.
Late time, Sunday.
And it is a late game on Saturday night, which does obviously help. And the players are a lot fitter than used to be, but I just got a funny feeling that this won't be as easy as the betting suggests. And I think Newcastle are capable of causing an upset. I know that at the back they're woeful, but going forward they'll give Arsenal a hard time. But I'm going for goals in that particular game, but I don't think it's a 1-3 shot as everybody makes it out to, even though the Gunners are at home. Steve, Wolves stuck us out a couple of weeks when they lost to Brentford. Outstandingly last week. Surely they've got to beat Sheffield United.
You would think so. I mean, Gary O'Neill has really done well there, and that was obviously Paul have something to say about it, but that was a huge result last week. I don't think people saw that one coming. Sheffield United, well, look, some of their results recently, they've been terrible, and again, like Burnley, they're stuck on 13 points, 7 points adrift, effectively 8 because of their goal difference. They've conceded more goals at this stage of the season than any other Premier League team ever. So you can't see anything other than a Wolves home win.
Yeah, 5 to 10 does look worth a bet, but a bit short.
A stat that's interesting, when we played Wolves, it's the 5th game in a row Spurs haven't scored in the first half. Amazing, eh? Amazing. And we're all over them in the sense of possession.
Yeah.
They always look dangerous on the break. They always look dangerous.
He don't get a big move, I don't know.
He's a top player, yeah.
Steve, West Ham, Brentford, big game. How do you see it going?
Yeah, I mean, West Ham have been struggling recently, and as David Moyes has been very defensive with some of his comments, basically saying, what do the fans want? I gave them a trophy. They should be grateful for that. Well, the fans want to see some attractive football, and they've certainly been struggling.
Yeah.
Brentford, look, they obviously got Ivan Toney back in the team. Visser is back from the AFCON. Yeah. I think they're going to make this could be a hard afternoon for West Ham.
Yeah, I think so.
I fancy Brentford. I've been impressed. I know they lost 3-1 to Liverpool, but they gave them a game. Their chances in the first half were a bad pass here and there. Liverpool were in trouble, and against Man City, just the fight that they've showed. That's what impressed me.
And the guy slipped.
Yeah. I know Man City 1-0. You didn't get anything, but I was really impressed. I'm all over Brentford here, Steve. Yeah. I fancy Brentford to upset and keep the David Moyes bandwagon from restarting, but I'm on Brentford every day. Steve, I was at the Chelsea-Liverpool game with our second winner, Andrew Jackson, about 5 years ago. I didn't realise the hatred between the two sets of fans, Chelsea-Liverpool.
Who does Chelsea like?
Yeah.
They hate everybody.
That's true. This last year they played in the 2 cup finals, obviously League Cup, FA Cup, 0-0, and Liverpool won on penalties. This is going to be another close game, especially considering Liverpool's injuries. Can Chelsea cause an upset?
I think they can, and I think mainly because of Liverpool's injuries. And although they've got good young players, Liverpool, Chelsea have got a stronger squad with players coming back from injury. I hope it's not another 0-0. I mean,
it won't be.
You really want an entertaining, as a sort of neutral, you really want an entertaining game with goals. But I think Chelsea have made themselves a little bit harder to beat. You're not sure what you're going to get with them, but I think if they score the first goal, I think they could make it quite tough for Liverpool.
It's an interesting stat, and Budge has highlighted here, and you can look at it both ways. The last 9 meetings, Chelsea have only lost once to Liverpool.
Yeah.
In the last 9 meetings, Chelsea have only won once against Liverpool. So
7 draws.
Yeah.
But there was 4-1 a couple of weeks ago.
That's right, yeah.
But Steve, my thing about this game is, as long as they don't play, if they play Thiago Silva Chelsea, they'll get rolled at the back. He never played against Man City. And just watching those 2 games against Man City, they're struck for, they can go going forward. They're a threat.
They're good
they drew 4-all, they drew 1-all. They have, against the better teams, their teams tend to play a little bit better. But I don't know, this isn't all our Liverpool mates chirping, this is our first trophy. With that Kelleher in goals, anything's possible. And the way they played against Man City, catching them on the break.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if Chelsea sneak this one, but I hope it is a good game. I just don't see it being 0-0.
Draw in 90 minutes.
Draw in 90 minutes is what price is at 26 to 10. Yeah, that could be the bet on recent history, but wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea cause an upset. On to the championship, and 2 good games on Friday night. One I'll be watching, the other one I'll be taping. Coventry City against my beloved Preston North End, boys. Steve, what do you think?
Watching that.
Yeah. Well, I think there's decent value in those odds for Preston. I think they can give Coventry a good game.
Yeah.
I think it will be fairly close. Both teams in and around the sort of playoff mix, just a little bit below at the moment. So whoever wins that, hauls themselves, very close to that 6th place.
Yeah, Coventry only lost 1 in 14, so at home you'd expect them to get a result. They did beat Leicester a couple of weeks ago. If my boys can get a point, I'll be over the moon. But of the two sides, I fancy Coventry. Big game, top first or 1 against 2. Leeds, Leicester. Steve, which way do you see it going?
Yeah, huge game. And for me, I see Leeds as favourites. I mean, they're on a roll at the moment. Won 6 in a row and comfortably, and got the players are firing. Leicester are having a good run, but they just don't seem as convincing for me. And I think this is a huge game. Leeds could sort of close that gap if they beat them, and I fancy them to do it.
Yeah, I just think this has got draw written all over it. Leicester will play on the break with the guys up front, and Leeds have been gung ho. I watched them twice against Plymouth Argyle. Plymouth didn't really offer much. I just think this has got 1-1, 0-0 written all over it, Steve. They both won't want to get beat, Leicester especially, and I think defensively they may be slightly better. I've chanced Leicester City in the draw. I think it was like 8-10. That's my suggestion. But an out-and-out bet.
Leeds don't 26. Lose at home.
Yeah, I know Leeds.
12,
but they
12
squeaked
wins, 1 draw,
Preston.
13 games. 12 wins, 1 draw in the last
Virgil,
13
Preston
games.
Boys with a last-minute penalty. Yeah, I totally agree. Leeds are on fire. But I just think this is going to be a cagey affair, Paul. And this has got draw written all over it. Hull City, West Brom, Steve. 2 sides in the top 8. How do you see it going?
Yeah,
top 6.
Yeah, it should be a very good game. Hull had a great win at Southampton.
Yeah.
First time Southampton have lost at home since early in the season. West Brom had a good win as well themselves midweek at Plymouth.
Yeah.
I think. I can see this. For me, it's sort of maybe Hull or a draw, and I think West Brom certainly could hold them. I think it'll be a close game.
Yeah, no, totally agree. This got 1-1, 7-1 written all over it. Steve, Blackburn, Norwich City. Blackburn, the wheels have totally come off. Can you see Norwich City beating them?
Yeah, I think so. Norwich have just started to pick up a little bit of form.
Yeah.
Scored a few goals at home recently. I fancy them to go there and get a result. Blackburn, as you say, the wheels have come off. They're not scoring like they were, and they're sort of very much towards the bottom of the form table at the moment. Yeah. So I think if there was to be a winner for me, it's Norwich.
Totally agree. I'm all over the Canaries. On to our second page, and we've got Cardiff City against Stoke City. 2 teams out of form, Steve. Draw suggestion?
Yeah, very much so. Both really out of form. Cardiff particularly, who at one point, just put 1 or 2 games together, but, falling now. Stoke, you're not sure what you're going to get. I think if there was to be a winner, possibly Stoke, but I can see them cancelling. For me, I can see it being a low-scoring draw.
Yeah, Ipswich Town have picked up form. They won the last couple in good form.
Get back in the scrum.
Can they surely they've got to be fancied to beat Birmingham City?
You would think so, although Birmingham obviously showing a little bit more fight.
Yeah.
Although obviously they've temporarily lost their manager for a couple of months through ill health, but Ipswich did well. They came from behind to win a very close game the other night. They were.
Rotherham, yeah.
I saw the highlights. They were 3-1 up, and then Rotherham pulled it back to 3-3 with a penalty in injury time, and Ipswich went straight upfield and made it 4-3 to win. So I think they'll be pleased with that. I think they'll be favourites, but I think it'll be a close game.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But Tony Mowbray's missing, not being available. He's sick. Obviously be a problem. Middlesbrough, Steve, great result last week, winning at Leicester City. There's no doubt Plymouth Argyle will be goals every one of their games, but Middlesbrough get back into the playoff hunt.
Yeah, I think whether they get into the playoff hunt, I think they'll win. Plymouth don't win away from home, and they've been beaten quite comfortably recently, Plymouth at home. So I think at Borough, Borough will be too strong. Yeah,
QPR form's improved dramatically in the last 6 games. At home against the bottom team, Rotherham. Great chance to get out of the relegation zone.
I think so, and in fact, they could get themselves out of the bottom 3 for the first time in a while. And Rotherham showed a lot of fight, but they are quite a bit adrift. But I fancy QPR to win this. Yeah,
I think there'll be goals in that too. Both teams to score 12-10, over 2.5 goals, 11-10 as well. And those teams at the bottom of the league rather get beat trying to win than playing for a draw and 0-0. So, but I agree, QPR are on a roll. Sheffield Wednesday, Bristol City. We were on Bristol City last week. Cost us a few rand. Can they rebound?
They can do, but Sheffield Wednesday are going to be thinking, they too have got half a chance of getting out. So, I think at Hillsborough, they're making themselves harder to beat. I think they'll start as favourites for me.
Yeah, I think there'll be a few goals in that. Southampton Millwall, terrible result for Southampton in midweek, losing 2-1 at home to Hull City. Great chance to get back to winning ways, Steve.
I think they will, and I think they'll look at the league table and they know they have to.
Yeah.
If they want to get back into second place, I think they realise, and Millwall are really struggling. If the results go against them, they will find themselves in the bottom three.
Yeah.
And there's talk of them possibly bringing Neil Harris back to the club after having managed it a couple of times. They sacked Gary Rowett when they were sort of sitting in mid-table, and here they are now, literally on the precipice of going into the relegation zone.
Yeah, Southampton to win by a couple of goals, 12-10. Sunderland Swansea, Steve. Sunderland, I see, got rid of Michael Beale.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, they weren't happy. Evidently, there was he lost the dressing room, and the board obviously felt that especially the way the results have been going. When he went there, they were literally in a playoff place, and now they've fallen out. So I think they'll start as favourites though. Obviously, Swansea are having a sort of poor run at the moment. So I think of the two, I think Sunderland will be favourites.
Did you watch Sunderland Till I Die Part 3?
No, I haven't watched it all.
Outstanding. You got to go and watch it. They brought a new guy in.
He's a schoolboy, I heard.
Young guy. His father was a big name in football.
Okay.
It's a very interesting story. If you get a chance, Steve, have a look at Sunderland Till I Die Part 3. Brilliant.
Okay, so Sunderland, I think there'll be goals in that. Swansea create plenty. They haven't taken many chances of late. But if they get their heads up, I think they will score a couple. And over 2.5 goals, certainty for me. And last but not least, Steve, Watford Huddersfield. 9-10, Watford looks a decent price.
Yeah, I think Watford certainly should start as favourites. Huddersfield have sort of clawed their way away from the bottom three.
Yes.
But I think Watford should start as favourites.
Yeah, I've got to fancy Watford, but they never do me any favours, so I always brass them. Steve, pressure time again. I need your best bet and value bet.
Well, I might go against you here because I know what you said about, but I fancy Leeds with their crowd. They're going to be sucking that ball into the net. I think there'll be an amazing atmosphere, and I'm looking forward to watching that tomorrow night. And I fancy Leeds as my best bet. And my value bet, I'm going to go for Norwich. Yeah. I think I see them as, for me, I think they're favourites to go to Blackburn and win.
Yeah, I totally agree on your value bet. I went for Brighton, Steve. I think Brighton will beat Everton. As much I got a couple of mates, Jeff Ward's in our last one standing competition. He's a staunch Evertonian, but it's a hard watch. And if Brighton get their heads up and early, I think they'll win going away. But I'm on Brighton. Steve?
I heard that they seem to be, there's rumour that they might certainly in the next few days, be saying they're giving the result of Everton's appeal against their 10-point deduction.
Okay.
And you just think that... my understanding is that a decision has been made or is close to being made. And I think that could... Obviously, they've still got another potential deduction, which we won't know till mid-April. But, I think it really depends. If they get any of those 10 points back, could make a huge difference to what's going on there.
All right, Stevie.
Steve, thanks very much. And we'll speak
best.
over the weekend.
Yeah, of course. Cheers. Bye.
Bye. But what's happening locally?
There's no PSL, there's Nedbank Cup, and the problem is over the weekend a lot of our top teams are playing like lower league teams. Paul, the betting's 1-10, 1-12, so it's a nightmare. There have been, I watched a good game Tuesday night. Cape Town City Supersport went to penalties, Supersport won it. Amazulu play tonight, Royal AM, so nice early kickoff, I'll be watching that. But really difficult to bring the odds up 1-20 and all that.
Yeah, no,
just not really worth it. Anyway, on to our soccer exotics for the weekend.
Run me through them.
And our first one is our Score 6 when it gets pulled up. And the first one is Premiership. I've gone Aston Villa to avoid defeat at home against Notts Forest. I've thrown the draw in with Brighton at home against Everton. I've gone the field in the Crystal Palace Burnley game. I think Man United will beat Fulham. I think Man City will beat Bournemouth. And I'm looking for the upset in the Arsenal-Newcastle United match, 2-1-6. On to our second Soccer 6 on Saturday, and I've gone Aston Villa to avoid defeat at home against Notts Forest. I'm banking Brighton to beat Everton, the field in the Crystal Palace versus Burnley fixture, Man United to be too good at home against Fulham. I've thrown the draw in. Middlesbrough at home against Plymouth Argyle in the field in the Nedbank Cup game between Richards Bay and Polokwane City, 2-1-6. On to our score 10 for the weekend. I'm going Aston Villa win and draw at home against Notts Forest. Banking Brighton to beat Everton. The field in the Crystal Palace versus Burnley game. I'm banking Man United to beat Fulham. Norwich City win and draw at Blackburn Rovers. On to our second page, I'm going Ipswich win and draw at home against Birmingham City. I'm banking Southampton to beat Millwall. The field in the Sunderland versus Swansea City game. Man City should be too good away from home against Bournemouth. And Arsenal win and draw against Newcastle United, 288. On to the Soccer 13 on Saturday, and I'm banking Arsenal to beat Newcastle United. Man City to beat Bournemouth. Brighton win and draw against Everton. Man United to beat Fulham. Aston Villa to beat Notts Forest. The field in the Crystal Palace Burnley game. Norwich City win and draw at Blackburn Rovers. The second page, I'm going Cardiff City win and draw at home against Stoke City. Two bankers, Middlesbrough to beat Plymouth Argyle and Queen's Park Rangers to beat Rotherham United. Bristol City to avoid defeat at Sheffield Wednesday. The field in the Sunderland Swansea City match. And Watford to be too good at home for Huddersfield Town, 288. On to our Budgies bets, Paul.
My favourite page.
Yeah, Paul,
talk to me.
I'm going Brighton to beat Everton. I think Brentford will beat West Ham, and Man City to beat Bournemouth, and both teams to score 2,600 to 200.
So
our team goals
hinges on Brentford.
Yeah. Our team goals, I'm going Brighton, Wolves and Brentford all to score over 1.5 goals, and Man City to score over 2.5 goals, 2,400 to 200.
Okay.
On to the championship. I'm going Leicester City plus a goal. So it's Leicester City win and draw plus Norwich City
Leicester
at Leeds. I think it's got 1-0, 0-0 written all over it. And then I'm going Norwich.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Leicester start with a goal.
Yes.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. So it's handicap +1 pull. It's just a better odds than the double chance.
Okay.
So that's why I've gone +1 handicap. I'm going Norwich City to beat Blackburn, and I'm going over 2.5 goals in the Middlesbrough, Plymouth Argyle and Sunderland Swansea City games, 2,200 to 200. Both teams to score sides are, you go back, Hull City, West Brom, Middlesbrough, Plymouth, QPR, Rotherham and Sunderland Swansea, 2,200 to 200. On to Spain, where I'm going Atletico Madrid to beat Almeria. Yeah, yes. Almeria tailed off. Genoa to beat Rayo Vallecano on Monday, and both teams to score. Real Betis, Athletic Bilbao and Las Palmas Osasuna, 2,100 to 200. Now, Collis King, 6 or Nix. I'm going Brighton to beat Everton. Man City to beat Bournemouth. Southampton to beat Millwall. Bologna on Friday to beat Hellas Verona. Atletico Madrid to beat Almeria. And Girona to beat Rayo Vallecano, 3,200 to 200.
Very good, Budge. That looks very exciting. So don't forget, it starts on Saturday, the last one standing. Get your bets into Budge and let's see who goes through. Until next time, stay on side.